Surviving Sister Wives contains adult content that may not be suitable for Latter-day Saints or sinners. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Surviving Sister Wives.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Carly, and today we are talking about Season 19 of Sister Wives, Episode 12, Put Your House in Order.
Yes, this is our 2 Kings chapter 20, verse 1, Bible verse for the week. In those days, Hezekiah became ill and was at the point of death. The prophet Isaiah, son of Amos, not famous Amos, went to him and said, "This is what the Lord says, put your house in order because you're going to die. You will not recover."
Do you have a translation for us?
I am never going to financially recover for this. A prophet, Isaiah, was told by God that somebody was ill. They're not going to get better, so you better take care of all your earthly possessions, get that stuff lined up, because you're not going to be here for too much longer. That's what it is.
It's very loosely tied back to Coyote Pass, I'm assuming.
Nobody's ill.
I don't know, maybe he'll get COVID again. You never know.
It was 99.7, to be fair. He was so close to the Grim Reaper that day. But the TLC description for this one is, as the deadline to pay off Coyote Pass looms, tensions rise over how the family will divide the property. Meri takes an empowering solo trip to England. Christine and Janelle host a graduation party for Savannah.
What did you think of this episode?
I thought it was necessary to bridge storylines.
I know, those episodes are always, hard to watch, though. The moment of paying off Coyote Pass was really anticlimactic.
And I think Robin spoke to that a little bit.
Oh, Robin climaxed.
Yeah, well, I mean, she was talking about how anticlimactic it was, though, which is probably true for most of her climaxes.
I've got a different interpretation of what we saw. Another family gathering invite gets lost in the mail. Meri attempts to time travel but visits the wrong stone circle. Janelle gets snitched on. The check's clear on Coyote Pass.
It's a miracle. It really is.
You know what I'm tired of? The fact that they're already setting us up for another storyline where we talk about the division of Coyote Pass.
They've already been talking about the division of Coyote Pass before they were able to actually divide that.
We have seen so many versions of maps at this point. I can't handle it because I know that's where we're going.
Well, because they have to show the actual ownership lots as they are right now, contractually.
But that's not the view that they used to give us. It was just the hypothetical split of the property. And then they blew our minds by telling us how they were actually divided.
Because that doesn't make any sense. If you're talking about that's the dream, that's the goal of what they have, that's not what they did when they legally purchased the land.
No, and so we're back to the original conversation now of how do we divide everything for each individual.
This land is your land. This land is my land.
It's so Sister Wives to have the same conversation spread across, 4 seasons?
I think season 14 was when we started talking about this, yeah. They might have introduced the plot diagram in season 13, though, if I'm not mistaken.
We better get sepia tone flashbacks.
Sepia?
Sepia? I'll never get it right.
That's okay.
Let's go. We got to dive into this episode. But we're starting right where we left off, because Kody is still standing in the living room, the foyer. Is that what we would call it? Is it that fancy of a house?
I don't know where they are. I thought they were on a second-story window, which is why Nate was not able to climb out the window that he was looking. If he was on the ground level, he should have bolted out of that window.
Poor Jen is still trying to look as though she's having an emotional reaction to what's happening. I don't know how she's stifling the laughter.
I think there's a lot of emotions that are bottled up in Jen right now, but it's not comedic. I think she's probably more angry at this point than anything.
I bet you she's having that moment where she's thinking, my bestie might get back with this guy.
She knows that this is how this goes.
There's a possibility that he's pulling Meri back in with this carefully timed outburst of emotion.
Strategically placed reaction of end of an era, good old days. Boy, what we had was so special, but that's not what you've been saying for the last 8 years.
At least he does recognize that it is the official end of the Meri-sance.
And I would like to call out justice for Meri here, because there have been some articles flying around about Robin's new nickname that people have coined, and they're calling her Eeyore, which I'm sorry, we've been referring to Meri as Eeyore for quite some time. So you do not get to come in and take what is Meri's and apply that to Robin. Do not do that.
It's just another title that she's stolen from Meri at this point. Just add it to the pile.
Justice for Meri. This is just terrible. We thought the journalistic integrity was at an all-time low when we did the JonBenet Ramsey documentary over on Surviving Reality, but now we found a new low.
Yeah, if you guys missed that, be sure to check that out. And we're talking about it over on the Patreon because we have not stopped obsessing over the JonBenet case since we stopped recording that episode.
Can't stop talking about it. The theories have only continued to grow.
No, I'm pretty sure we solved it, so.
Well, yeah. Like
case
we do.
closed.
Yeah, like we do. Call in the experts.
Cody does finally leave on his own fruition. I think it's a miracle that he walked out of this house without doing any additional damage.
I think he did plenty of damage still because he's confused about how he was reacting to it. He knows that Meri was confused. He hopes she's not, but come on, everybody's confused. Everybody who's standing around and experiencing this firsthand has no idea why this is happening right now.
Even Nathan gets in the car and he's like, "Are you sure? Are you sure you made the right decision? Because I won't judge you. You know, if you want to get back with Meri, it's okay."
It's up to you. It's not up to Meri. So,
Well, we all know that Meri would get back with you in a split second. So if you want to march back in there and take your woman in the back of this convertible home.
Whoa, excuse me. Whoa.
I'm cool with it. I will return the cash that you gave me to eliminate her.
You can use that as a down payment for paying off the rest of Coyote Pass, hopefully. And you can build your own love shack out there.
The next ceremony, maybe.
Must be. But the juxtaposition between Nate's reaction, where he's asking Kody, "Are you sure that you should be ending things with Meri?" versus Jen pulling Meri aside and immediately grabbing a spray bottle and saying, "No, Meri, no," spritzing her in the face and saying, "Don't go back to this guy. You saw it. Don't fall for it."
She did have to remind her, you know, he's done things like this before. This is actually very much in his character.
This isn't new for him. This is very typical Kody. And it makes this difficult because Meri was kind of just expecting Kody to be a wet sandwich for the day.
She was wet sandwich?
Yeah, it's
is
not.
Is that a saying?
It's very unpleasant, is it not?
Unless it's Mike's way.
Well, give that a little bit of time because they just... Private equity.
Venture capitalism will ruin that too.
Gonna drag that to the bottom of the barrel pretty quick.
I didn't understand Cody's response to Nathan when he told him, "If you don't get it by now, I don't know if you will."
I don't know if we will.
We're all confused.
I think Kody doesn't get it. So then he's just kind of given up on thinking about it anymore because he doesn't want to explore that. He doesn't like going through and sorting out emotions that are related to these big life events. He's going to have to think through things and process stuff, and he's not ready to handle any of that.
No, and I think this showed exactly why Meri didn't know that it was time to actually clock out of this marriage.
Let's be real. She should have known. She was holding on begrudgingly. She was there to prove a point, and she did.
When the bed stayed empty for that long, I think that was probably the top clue. When you stopped having to make the other side of the bed, that was probably the clue you should have followed.
That was a while ago, too. Long time ago.
We have something we have never seen before on the show, which is a friend gets a confessional.
So Jen must have earned her roster spot here because...
Is she getting a paycheck?
The look backs, the talk backs. It wasn't her own confessional because we did see it was a 2-shot of her and Meri. They were filming together because they're both in Utah. They're both running the B&B together. So they're probably in close proximity for the filming location when the crew's there.
I don't know if they're testing something out, but we've never seen a friend in the confessional like that.
It's always been family members.
And she's spilling the tea, too, because she's talking about living back in Vegas and how she met Meri, and that her and her husband knew the whole time that Kody was over at Robin's house.
The favoritism has always been there.
I just thought it was fascinating, and I hope that she has more information to share for us. And I also felt robbed that we did not get her reaction to Kody crying in a confessional spliced into the last episode.
Oh, I'm sure that they had different takes, or maybe she was mindful enough to know not to say this stuff on camera because it could end up on the show.
Just do it. Be messy, girl.
I think she said enough stuff that Kody was going to be upset by what she's saying, even just from the referencing of, yeah, we saw the favoritism back in Vegas.
We don't have to deal with him anymore.
It's true.
Say whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I think we should let them know.
I just feel like that's the fun. If you're going to invite other people in to give their commentary, then have it be good commentary.
Because then you can show it to Kody, and then you get his reaction, and you know he's going to go off on a lot of that stuff.
They must have gotten really good feedback to her participating in the talkbacks and the lookbacks. I hope we get more of it. Can Dino Dave get his own?
I guess we're going to have to update the nickname to Dino David. He prefers David instead of Dave. We find out at Savannah's graduation party here at Christine and David's new house.
Man, I feel so bad for Savannah. I just feel like everything is a disappointment when it finally comes to be her turn to do something.
Yeah, it's by that point we've done pretty much every single iteration that we can think of. We've done serious, heartfelt. We've done silly, humorous. We've done upscale, classy, to the best of our abilities. And now it's the leftovers.
They have to have it at David and Christine's house because Janelle doesn't own any piece of real estate, so
She can't have it in the RV.
they should have done it on Coyote Pass. At least squeeze every dime out of that place that you possibly can.
It would be really hard to not invite Kody and Robin if it's at Coyote Pass, because that's where they spend all of their time. When they're not at the She-Ra Chateau, they're over at Coyote Pass.
You're right. They are monopolizing the time over there.
Very much so. Yes. They're getting their stink on the land, as Kody would say.
Well, they weren't invited to this party. Or were they?
Allegedly. Because, yeah, we noticed something at the end of the last episode, and then they went back and tried to scrub it out, blur it out.
We'll get to the scene, but it's when Meri goes to Robin and Cody's house later in the episode. On the refrigerator, they have blurred it so it's almost unrecognizable, but it's Savannah's class picture, her graduation picture.
Senior photo.
It's her with the hat on.
So it's either...
Probably seen it on her Instagram.
It's either a graduation announcement that just has like the date or the class of 2023, and it's one of the senior photos, and that's what they have up there, or it's an invite to the party.
It definitely seems like it's not an invitation because I don't think, one, that Christine wants him coming to her house, and two, that Janelle had any interest in inviting him.
Okay, fair.
Also, I don't think he called or sent a gift.
Did not happen. Yeah, no gift, no phone call.
He did go to her graduation, though. There are pictures of that, the ceremony, which is maybe why they were talking about how Kody thinks that if he doesn't bring Robin to things with him, that he can come to them. Because there were no pictures of Robin at the graduation that got posted. So maybe he went alone?
And I don't know why Janelle seems to think that that's what Cody's barrier is. I feel like that's just another way for Kody to shift blame. It's not that he has these terrible relationships with 90% of his children. That's not the issue. It's because all of his other children don't want Robin around, and he's never going to leave Robin out in the cold all alone.
Right. It has nothing to do with him.
No.
It's that they don't like her.
Yeah.
He just can't even fathom that his kids don't want to have a relationship with him.
Or that he hasn't been able to maintain any relationships with any of these children. That can't be the answer.
It can't be a deficit in himself.
No, I don't want to think about that. That's getting into weird emotional processing areas, and I don't want to think about that.
I would be open to having him come to things if Robin didn't participate. Don't you feel like that would be at least somewhat of a compromise so that he could show up to things for Truly, for example?
That's only going to hurt Christine's case for custody and child support, though.
I guess it does work out better that he's
the
just
less,
MIA.
Yeah, the less things that he shows up to, the better that's going to work out for her.
Now, we've got a lot of people at this party, even though we don't have Robin and Kody and their kids.
A lot of Christine's kids, a lot of Janelle's kids.
We had a Logan and Michelle sighting.
A little bit, yeah. Daddy Logan was there.
Maddie has flown in.
Caleb's there. Aspen, Mitch, McKelty, Tony, Garrison, Gabe.
We got the whole crew dressed in yellow to celebrate. I guess it was a sunflower-themed party. Didn't you see the sunflowers? No? Was that just me? Christine even had little dish towels hanging up on the oven.
Are we sure that wasn't just Christine's aesthetic? And then that just kind of spilled over into the party theme here?
I don't know. I'm just saying maybe Tata Farms, the first thing that they're going to plant are sunflowers.
Boy, that would be a sight to see. But yeah, we need to have a little Godfather moment if we're going to be talking about the land in North Carolina. Janelle and Maddie and Caleb have to excuse themselves And it did. It kind of felt like at the end of The Godfather when you're looking through the door frame across the hall and then they just close the door on you. But they're bringing us in. We're in the inner sanctum now.
At this point, I think they shouldn't be filming conversations about the property because Kody is so convinced that everyone is trying to screw him over. And you really saw in this moment that Maddie is done with this man.
She's ready for... Well, and I think this is... The other part of it is that whatever Janelle's involvement with Coyote Pass is gumming up the works on their deal. Tata Farms is on delay because she's still waiting to wrap up this other horrible investment that she had.
Well, Janelle only has so much capital. We know that.
She needs to work on risk assessment then with her investments more, because she was talking about how this venture with Maddie and Caleb, she's sinking all of her financial resources into it. Don't put everything that you have, all of your earthly possessions, into one single venture, because if it goes bad, you're fucked.
She hasn't learned that lesson yet.
How have you not learned to diversify your resources?
She truly has 9 lives because she has invested all of her money into multiple things at this point and had them fail. Because we will not forget my sister wife's closet.
She cashed out her 401k, which was everyone's retirement plan at that time. I don't know how it was going to be enough to cover everybody. It wasn't. That was the short answer.
It wasn't enough to keep that business going for more than, 3 years?
No, not at their burn rate. What she was calculating, she was like, we're not doing any more trunk shows. Forget it. But it seems like Maddie doesn't really have an affinity for math.
Why do you think so?
Because this was the problem. Maddie is having issues where she was getting upset when Janelle was talking about she's just going to take her 4 acres from Coyote Pass, 4 of the 14, and then we should be good on that. And Maddie was getting upset because Janelle was entitled to a quarter, but 4 of 14, that's more than a quarter. So Janelle's getting more than she invested into this.
That's if you feel like Robin and Kody deserve to be recognized as separate entities. I think that that's what she's annoyed about.
Oh, she's saying that it should be split 3 ways then.
I'm guessing that her mind has probably gone to, here we go, with Robin and Kody taking advantage of a situation and somehow getting more out of it than everyone else yet again. Because they're taking 8 acres.
So then dividing out 14 and breaking that into 3, Janelle would deserve 4.6 acres is what we're saying by breaking down that math.
If you divided it completely equally.
That's what I'm saying, is if you just
but
took
you still
14
have the same thing.
Into thirds.
Oh, into thirds.
Because if it would be Robin and Cody's
I'm not
share,
good at math.
I know, this is what I'm saying. So like this is what I'm getting at. I think because Janelle's seeing it as it's a half an acre. Basically, I'm not going to go toe-to-toe with that because I don't want Meri to start to realize that she needs more land too, because if anybody's getting completely screwed in this deal, Meri's only getting 3 acres out of the whole 14.
I don't know how she hasn't said anything about that.
Why hasn't she pieced that together? I feel like she probably contributed a good bit of money towards it.
I kind of think that Janelle just doesn't want to fight back because she knows it'll just be another way for Kody to further delay things because he barely gets back to her as it is to talk about paying off the land. Now you're going to reopen a conversation of how we're going to divide it.
Well,
it'll be 6 more years.
Yeah, you can't argue about it before it's paid off because then Kody will get too frustrated with it and he just won't pay it off. So that way it's not their problem anymore and he doesn't have to think about it.
Also, I have a different opinion about how it should be divided, personally.
So not 3 of like Kody and Robin being their own entity and then Janelle gets a share and then Meri gets a share. So 3 parties involved.
I think that they should divide now I got to do math. I think they should divide the first 12 acres among the 3 of them.
That's not 12. It's 4 and 4 is 8,
no.
Right? Which 12? What are you saying?
Because there's 14 acres in total.
There's 14 acres in total. Yes.
I think Robin and Kody get 4. Meri gets 4. Janelle gets 4. That's 12. And the other 2, I think, should go to Janelle because she's the only person who's leaving here without another asset. And she has never recouped her money from my sister wives closet.
I would, go the sister wives closet argument.
So I think she should get 6. So I, too, would be shitty like Maddie is.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I could see a reason for that. I would highly recommend don't bring any of this up before you pay it off, though, because, again, Kody will just do it out of spite. He'll let it go back to the seller.
Oh, 1,000% he would have canceled the check.
Yep. It's not going to happen. That's why, Janelle knows.
She wired her money straight to the title company.
Because we know she has a lawyer involved to protect her interests, and so I'm sure that was highly recommended.
I know that we all think that Janelle is somehow the smartest of the group, which maybe isn't saying a lot, but this was definitely the advice of somebody who is trained in the rule of law.
Yeah, don't put the money into their hands.
This is not a Janelle original.
No.
So Tata Farms will have to wait a little longer.
Just starting to germinate.
We go back to the party and it gets weird.
Yeah, you were talking about time travel in this one, and I think this is the time travel moment for me because they were planning to do a flash mob for Savannah in 2024.
It's a family tradition, though. They have to do this for everyone's graduation.
But nobody learned the dance moves because, again, we can't be bothered.
Because they couldn't have everyone come over to the house and learn it together.
Well, and who's still doing flash mobs in 2024? So then Maddie comes up with a great backup idea, which is to do a Harlem Shake in 2024.
I was going to say, which is also 10 years old. Or it's 2023. It's 2023.
Okay.
We'll give them the benefit of the one extra year.
So almost a decade and a half. Still, if you're rounding up, 13 years. Give or take. For anyone who's upset by this, because Harlem Shake videos are in and of themselves slightly problematic, may I remind you that Maddie is the person whose wedding theme was Gypsy Chic. And we're not talking
Gypsy wedding.
We're not talking about Gypsy Rose.
My big fat polygypsumist wedding.
Yeah, that was good. How can you say that, but you can't say polygamexicamist? Why did that one work? That just rolled off your tongue.
Perfect.
I couldn't do it again if we tried.
You couldn't spell it. That's the whole party. This was a real bummer of an affair, I got to tell you.
I did like how Kody was convinced that the only reason he's not able to be there is because of Robin. And then, of course, he's never going to leave her alone and exclude her.
He's just so loyal like that.
He's loyal like a dog. He really is.
It's a great intro to the Meri Meri moved to London.
What? Maybe.
I like that future for her.
There she goes.
Check out our TikTok
to
understand that joke.
If you know, you know. The Parent Trap.
She is traveling to England solo.
Okay, this is where I learned that Mary's braver than I am. I don't think I would be able to take a solo trip to London.
Just to London? Is there something about London or just a solo trip in general? You've traveled alone a lot. You've had to for
not
work.
Like alone. Okay, I met up with other people that I was working with. I was terrified. There was one event that I was going to have to do where I was going to fly to Helsinki, Finland, and I was just going to meet up with a local crew there. I had no idea what I was doing. I was so thankful that show got canceled. It would have been really cool. Don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't have been able to read any of the signs. I wouldn't have been able to navigate anywhere. It would have been terrifying.
I don't think she has the same issue in England.
No, I know, but it's just traveling internationally alone is kind of a scary thought for me.
I will say I have a lot of admiration for people who enjoy solo traveling, and it seemed like Meri did enjoy this trip.
She was moved to tears at Stonehenge, which is probably one of the most impressive henges in the world, if not the most.
I kind of feel like she was hoping that maybe she would just be able to leave this timeline and maybe be transported into the arms of a Scottish man somewhere in the 17th century, but it didn't happen. I kind of think that was... I think that was the origin of the tears.
Driven into the arms of a Scottish man.
What else do we think she did on this trip? Did she just go to Stonehenge?
She cried at Stonehenge, which I don't think everybody does. I feel like a lot of this was just different emotions for her. There was this newfound freedom that she had, and this is all very new for her. She didn't have to compromise on anything. She didn't have to convince anybody to go with her or be a part of this. She's just here and enjoying this experience.
And she willingly did something alone this time.
It's amazing, though. And I think that is very empowering.
It was a feel-good moment.
I felt good. Did you feel good, Carly?
I felt like she did not do the same things that I would want to do.
What were some of the other things that she did?
She just seemed to wander around and take selfies in the street.
Yeah, like
that was a lot of it.
Anything that had...
She saw Buckingham Palace.
Okay, yeah. Feel like that would be right up your alley, though. What's that?
I've got to go see all of the Tudor sites first.
That's not at
Before we get
Palace?
to modern history. No, you have a lot to learn.
Oh, no.
This is why we can't go to England together.
Is that why?
Do you think she had a lot of fish and chips?
Fish and chips? Have a nice pint to round out the day?
It was a euphemism.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Her first glass of absinthe, perhaps.
I'm disappointed she came back alone. But this is where I'm saying this is a good audition for 90 Day Fiancé. I think we're getting our start here.
The other way. Meri the other way.
She can't go the other way. She's got to keep running the B&B.
Well, Jen's going to run it. Problem solved.
That's true. She is kind of just squatting there right now. Meri.
Careful.
We had to go see her do something fun before she goes and grovels back to Kody and Robin, because it's been about 5 minutes since she moved to Parowan, and she's already back in the car to go write a check in person to Kody and Robin.
This is very upsetting to me that Meri drove back to Flagstaff to the Shira Chateau to drop off a check. Meri, you can mail those. Do you have an envelope? Do you have a stamp?
A big check. I want to mail a big check.
That's what a check is. It's to the person that you're writing it out for. It's not you're putting cash in an envelope.
Maybe she should have gotten more advice from Janelle and just wired the money to the title company.
Meri needs to talk to Janelle more. I think that's the lesson this season. And maybe they do. It looks like they do continue to interact further into the season based on the mid-season preview.
Instead, here we are, back at the Shira Chateau.
Telling Kody and Robin how great this London trip was. And what does Kody do? Immediately shits on it. Stonehenge, that's pretty boring, isn't it? Meri had an emotional reaction to being at Stonehenge. And here's where I will throw the caveat in. If you don't have an interest in Stonehenge and you're going to London and somebody says you got to go to Stonehenge, I don't think you're going to have the same reaction. If you're not already into Stonehenge, you don't need to go to Stonehenge.
That goes for a lot of different things.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like there are a lot of people who are told, oh, you got to go to Stonehenge. And then they go and they don't really care about what it is. They're not invested there. It's just some rocks in a field. That's what they perceive it as. That's how Kody...
family's used to that.
That's how Cody's
rocks
perceiving
it. Maybe if there was a pond, he would be more interested.
Oh, yeah, they should install a pond in the middle of the stones. That would really set it off.
The real bullshit about this is that Meri has been talking obsessively about Stonehenge for years, and Kody has had to listen to her talk about it, and yet he seems to have no memory of the fact that this was an important place to her.
You know, Meri, usually when you talk, I can hear that you're saying things, but I don't always retain the information of what it is you're talking about, especially when it starts off with Stonehenge, and that's where we're going with the conversation.
He tries to make it out like it's because he's a man, and men don't remember things like that. But it's just because he's a narcissist.
That's probably the bigger issue here. I think he's run out of caveman excuses at this point.
Janelle is telling us, not only is it that he doesn't remember things that you have an interest in, he uses them against you when he wants something out of you. So do you want to go to Ireland? Which, by the way, was exactly where I'd clock Janelle's favorite place to go.
I thought she was going to want to go to Germany.
Oh, really?
Austria, perhaps.
Okay. I feel like that's on her list too, probably. But I would put Ireland right at the top.
Oktoberfest for Janelle is what I had.
And one day he's just going to say to you, do this, and then we'll go to Ireland, but probably not.
It's just something to hang over your head and then influence your behaviors.
Is that what he's doing with Robin? Because she really wants to go to London.
She said that she wanted to go to London. Again, stealing Meri's identity right out from under her.
It's getting very single white female.
It's a crime, is what it is.
And also, sell some of those fucking bear statues, and you can get on Polaris, and you can go straight there.
Concorde gets you there in half the time. So I've heard.
She would come back with 2 twins. Spirit babies she found somewhere. With accents, too.
Well, just one of them.
Right?
Well, technically, which one?
They don't ask to see pictures, nothing.
Oh, I'll watch the sequence when it's edited into the show. Robin's going to see it. And maybe Robin is following Meri on Instagram, but we know Kody's not.
No. They're just like, do you have the check? That's all we wanted from you.
The child mentioned a check. It's just a relief for Robin, of course, to be paying off this land. Not for anybody else. But it's also bittersweet because this is just this painful reminder that now you've paid off this beautiful heavenly landscape that we have fought and clawed for years. And now we don't even have a family anymore to go celebrate on it. Everybody's all scattered to the four corners of the earth.
I mean, that was a real Eeyore moment, gotta say.
I don't like that. No, it's stolen valor from our original Eeyore, Meri.
I don't think that Robin has lost one moment of sleep over thinking about paying off Coyote Pass.
No, I think she was banking on this just falling back to the seller as well. And then she could go, oh, that was so sad. Another dream that just went up in flames. I came so close to having my dreamland, but I am still looking forward to the time when Meri and Janelle build a house next to me and Kody's.
I gotta tell you, the level of Delulu that's going on here, like she needs to be certified. She thinks that they're all gonna live on the property together still.
And if she talked to anybody, because I think she still gets her version of reality through Kody, and then Kody says that he's talking to Meri and Janelle, because then that should be a red flag for Meri too. Why are we having this conversation? It's Meri, Kody, and Robin. Where's Janelle?
I don't think that we should be meeting in small groups like this anymore.
I don't think you should be speaking on Janelle's behalf, telling me what her plans and thoughts are.
Right? When she just spoke with Janelle did not seem like she felt comfortable with the situation. And then Kody is telling her, oh no, Janelle's cool. We already talked about how we're going to divide the land. As soon as we pay it off, it's all good.
Yeah, we're just leaving it the way that we had talked about. It's 4-4, and then the 2-2 and 2. And we're just going to split that. For the last one, it's going to be 1 and 1. So Kody gets 3, Meri gets 3, Robin gets 4, Janelle gets 4.
Which doesn't seem fair, but Meri's not even questioning that part of it. She does bring up that maybe the one thing I'm going to request that we do is have a surveyor get an appraisal on the property.
She's leaning towards an appraisal at this point, which Kody has to, we got to dial that back. It's hard to get an appraiser, and I don't know. It sounds like a lot of work, and we don't want to know the actual value of all the plots together.
Even though his alternative thought is let's just sell it to a developer. But let's not appraise the property to find out how much it's actually worth before we do something like that.
We'll just see what they offer us and then assume if it's more than what we paid for the land, then that's a win. And we're going to take that and we'll just split it 4 ways and call it a day.
Obviously, this is immediately fishy. There's got to be some reason that he doesn't want to have someone come out there and tell them what all of the pieces of land are worth.
Janelle has her theories on that. It's because Kody's making out like a bandit.
Well, of course, because he and Robin are each getting 4 acres.
He's getting 3, she's getting 4. So 7.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Close. It's Meri's getting screwed. That's who's getting really the raw deal here.
Remember when he was trying to convince them that the lots that had trees were worth more money?
So much more.
Either that's true, and is that why Meri's okay with taking 3?
Allegedly.
Because it is the property with trees on it?
Yes, I'm assuming.
I think that we should find out if that is actually a correct and valid assumption.
Yeah, and at this point, Janelle just needs money. Split it any way you want. Sell it. You can do the single purchase outright to the contractor and just give her a payout. That's fine. If you guys want to keep the land and play around in the drainage ditch pond and do whatever, great. Just buy her out. But they don't have money for that either. Maybe they can mortgage the land now that they own it. If they're paying it off, they can borrow against it now, probably.
I wonder. But is it worth? I mean, I guess you can because they would just take the land. But the land isn't really like worth that much as like a house would be easy for like a bank to resell.
Yeah, but I'm sure
that's not easy.
If you went into a bank though and you said, "Hey, I have this property that I own now. I would like to mortgage it." They're going to do that because they're going to make interest. So to say that you don't have money now, that's inaccurate.
Oh, these people have money. The idea that Kody and Robin don't have money is some bullshit. I think Janelle doesn't have any money. I think that's true.
Yes, Janelle is desperately in need of a cash infusion for the Tata Farms launch here.
I do want to chat, though, about the property. I just had another thought about it. Aren't the lots that Meri is getting the ones that have the easement for, isn't there like a gas line that goes through them?
It splits between, so there's like the 2 lots of 4 on the left, it's Robin's and then Janelle's, and then I think that's where the line is, and then it's the 2, 2, and 2.
I bet you they're probably less valuable because of that. Or that would be less enticing, especially if there are multiple lots being sold at the same time for someone to buy that lot in particular.
For a general contractor who's trying to buy the entirety of it, probably would be a deterrent as well.
Because that easement has to be accessible to the gas company.
Yeah. So honestly, you might be better off splitting it as it's the 2 4-acre lots, the 8 on the left side and then the 6 on the right.
I'm just very excited to find out when they do finally get someone out there to appraise the property, what these pieces are worth, because I have a lot of suspicions.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a mix. And then we'll compare it to Kody's original assessment. I don't know if he placed a dollar amount value on it, but he just said trees, more dollar signs. That was basically his official assessment.
Well, he's been selling them. He's in the business of chopping down, peeling, and selling logs.
He's been showing them, yes, there is value here inherently.
Just get out there and do that yourself, Mayor. Squeeze every last cent out of that piece of property.
You got to work it. But then this is where I have a problem with Meri. Meri rats on Janelle hard.
I knew it was just a matter of time. How did she come into this? Have him say that he just doesn't know how they're possibly going to find someone who's going to be able to find out what the land is worth, and then turn around and tell them what Janelle said to her.
Because you didn't even need to say, Janelle told me to be really concerned about this and to not trust you guys and to watch my back. No, you could have just said, it's in my best interest to know what I'm getting into here. Because we find out Meri just signed some paperwork. Nobody was involved in the process of assigning who has legal ownership of these lots, where Kody's name ended up on all 4 parcels of land and Robin's name happened to land on 3 of those.
I think that's bullshit. Nobody knew that. Nobody was paying attention. You guys trusted him too much if you just blindly signed shit.
There's no way. And I mean, to say I wasn't involved, your name is on it. So you signed something.
Yeah,
you didn't read it?
There's no way that just got assigned and that you had nothing that told you that was what was happening. There was no paperwork. There was no approval that you gave to literally put your name on the title of a property.
So that's where I take issue with that.
No.
The concern then is that it's because Kody has his name on all 4, Robin has her name on 3. So any way you cut it, they have a majority say in what happens with the land. So that's where the concern comes.
And it's quite a coincidence that your least favored, least trusted wife, who you thought was already moving to Parowan at the time, has her name on one of those 3 pieces, and she's only technically a third partner.
Yeah, 1 parcel with her name on it, and it's shared with more people than some of the other ones.
That's not just like, oh, I threw names in a hat and I picked them out. That was strategic.
You did the math. You lined it up. But then they should have caught it, is what I'm getting at, too, to
Meri,
just sign stuff.
Meri now is sitting in this situation. She's been warned by another person that you should maybe be paying a little more attention to what's going on, because I think that someone could be trying to screw us. And you're still not connecting the dots on how the property was originally allocated. They already tried to screw you.
And I'm trying to make sure that you're aware that you need to be more vigilant moving forward in this process. So Janelle gave Meri a heads up, and then Meri just turns around and throws Janelle right under that bus.
I felt like that was an old plague habit, though, where she actually has her own concern about making sure that she's getting what she's entitled to, but then she blamed it on somebody else.
But then this is in the same conversation where she's reminding Kody and Robin, I don't care what you guys do with your land. I don't care what your plan is with your plots. I'm not involved in that. We have no ties together. So she is reestablishing that and reframing that. So I don't know why she isn't taking that into consideration for her involvement in this too. Why are you including Janelle as part of your decision-making process and then feeding that information to Kody and Robin here.
Fidelis.
It's not, I don't think it is even that. I don't know what it is. She needed to play that way differently, because I think if she was trying to have Kody convince her that he wouldn't do anything to screw her, or I don't know. I mean, we already know Kody won't screw Meri. We know that.
In one way.
She knows.
And then Robin playing dumb, like, what do you mean? Why would anyone think that? I don't know, maybe because you're living in $1 million home.
And Janelle doesn't have anything? And Janelle's living in student housing still in downtown Flagstaff? A rental?
I mean, that could be why.
All signs point to, yeah, something's a little off. But this is where we hear the development plans for cul-de-sac 2.0 in Robin's head.
Man, she is just now realizing that they're not going to build a cul-de-sac there.
I was really looking forward to that. Having the whole family back out here all together. Why would you ever want your exes as neighbors? Why? They were looking forward to that. Kody seemed to be convinced that Janelle and Meri were both going to be building something on this land, even though he was pitching the idea of selling to the contractors outright for the entire collection of the plots.
Well, doesn't that work out best for Kody in the end? Because Robin gets to have this illusion that maybe they'll become a family again because they're in the cul-de-sac together.
Does Robin just get off on ignoring these women? Because that's what you're going to do. You're going to continue to live the same life where you did not interact with these people.
I think so. And I do like Janelle is already proactively thinking about what she will do if she does end up being neighbors with Kody and Robin.
She's going to happen to go into the ostrich farming business. And
we're going to put the chicken coops right along the fence line there.
A big old composting station over by the pond, perhaps.
She's got plans.
Right at the property line next to Robin and Kody's house.
Maybe she'll just go the good old Osborne way and she'll throw ham over the fence. That's a deep track of reality television.
That's going way out there. Someone's been in my room drinking my beers.
You're the beer thief.
Why can you do everybody's accent? Oh my God.
So Cody's just going to bumble around like Ozzy Osbourne for his latter years?
Yeah, and sweep Meri's doorstep lovingly.
He'll clear your hearth, Meri.
I'm telling you, no one else believes this is going to happen, but these two are going to hook up at some point.
It's gotta.
I don't know if we'll ever hear about it, but they're going to be going on business trips.
I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to. I just need to know in my heart that eventually there's going to be some big blow up fight between Kody and Robin. He's going to go vent to Meri about it, and it's just going to happen.
There's no emotion attached. Just
he's going to take the F from Robin and Kody fighting, and then he's going to apply it to an F with Kody and Meri fucking.
Thank you for clearly outlining the F and F for all of us. That's kind of where we leave them in this conversation. Meri's like, I don't know. I hope it doesn't get to the point that I have to hire a lawyer, but I'm opening up to the idea now that I just told them that Janelle has most definitely hired a lawyer and doesn't trust them. To be continued. I think this is going to be a big portion of the rest of the season is talking about this land. The episode takes a weird turn.
As it usually does. But they really shoehorned this in. Maybe they heard our end of our episode from a couple episodes ago where we talked about sneaking into the cul-de-sac. And so Kody got inspired.
Was it just the last episode?
It literally was one episode ago.
I think you think it was an emergency edit.
Yeah, they had to drop this in.
This was comical because the whole point is that Kody is going on a trip with his brothers. They haven't taken a man trip in a while. And they're planning to head to Vegas, which means they're going to be near the cul-de-sac.
With his brothers, Michael and Scott.
Or Michael Scott.
Well, and then you have Michael Scott, who is Kody Brown.
Yeah. That is odd. I never realized that before.
Well, they kept saying Scott and Michael, and then
no.
I read that the other way.
Missed opportunity. It starts out with him trying to be funny, I guess, because they're both bald and he's still got hair, even though I feel like that's really
a loose definition of hair.
Yeah, I mean, it is barely hanging on.
He had a hair net, which is part of his girly girl routine. I don't know if that was something that Maddie taught him or something that Robin taught him about the hair net, but he was applying that here in preparation for this guy's trip. This is just for content. This is season 2 Kody playing to the cameras, being a goofball, clowning.
He definitely thought that this was going to be like his redemption footage.
This is endearing Kody.
It's so not. He's talking about how he colors his hair because he doesn't want the grays. And I feel like maybe that's why Robin has had some roots lately. She's too busy working on his hair, applying coverage.
A full-time job.
Every 3 to 4 weeks.
So let's not ridicule Robin for never having a full-time job. If she's maintaining Kody's hair placement, color, and styling, that is your overtime every week.
They pull up to the cul-de-sac, they park, and they get out.
Outside, and then they went up. Did they actually get into the cul-de-sac?
No, we got further than they did.
Wow.
On a casual drive-by.
Well, don't say drive-by, but...
You know what? I felt bad because when we went, one of the neighbors was coming home and they seemed kind of weirded out by the fact that a car followed them into the gated little cul-de-sac area. Now I don't feel weird. Knowing that Kody just stands at this gate every few months and cries, I don't think that was the weirdest thing that has happened outside of these homes.
I guess that explains why they were on such high defense. They knew, if I don't watch this car get out of here, it could be this man who just comes up to my door and just weeps. And I don't want that anymore.
Now, all of a sudden, the cul-de-sac was the peak of the polygamy experience. This was the best place they ever lived, starting to regret selling these homes.
It was the last place he ever felt safe.
Oh, that's ironic.
Right? Because then that was the reason why they left, was because didn't feel safe in Vegas anymore.
He just really is impossible because when he is in a situation, there's something else that's better. But once they leave it, oh, we fucked up. That was the promised land.
He's ODing on nostalgia at the gate right now. That's what's happening. But this is an improvement because he's not weeping. We had enough of Kody weeping earlier at the B&B. We can't do it again. We can't.
That would have been a bookend.
I know, but it's just, I feel like it's too much. There's too much Kody sobbing. I guess Kody was right then. Yeah, you do take on the attributes of your partner. He's been spending so much time with Robin as he normally does, and now he's sobbing Kody.
The only thing that I felt like actually made this scene worth it, aside from him admitting that this was the best situation for their family, was the fact that he finally confessed that living in the cul-de-sac, he spent most of his time trying to hide what he and Robin had from the other wives.
This ends up being a very Chris Crocker, leave Robin alone sort of defense of Robin. But he's explaining how he never loved any of his other wives. He only loved Robin, and he had to keep that a secret in the cul-de-sac. So it is more freeing and liberating now to live openly as a monogamous man, finally.
He still isn't getting the fact that it wasn't a secret.
No, and there's a lot of repercussions in the relationships that you have because that's never been addressed. So to openly talk about it with your brothers, why are you okay admitting that to them, but then you're not okay admitting that to some of your own children who are telling you, yes, I experienced that, I felt that, and that hurt me in these ways?
That's a huge piece of the problem, is that he won't validate anyone else's emotions when it comes to that, but he's validating his own here with his brothers standing in front of the cul-de-sac.
And then he's also wounded by the fact that Janelle's telling him, no, you know what? My life's better without you. I'm doing all right. So he's upset that he doesn't get to be the only one who's happy outside of polygamy. He's upset that it's worked out for Janelle and Christine and Meri too.
That's true. That's a good point. Maybe if they were unhappy, he would admit some more things.
I feel like he would. Yeah, he'd be in a position to maybe, I don't know. It's like not even admit things, but it's just, I feel like he would deal with that better because then it would be them having a rough time and then, well, things are better for him, at least.
He's okay with their misery, which is clear.
Oh, he made that abundantly clear with Meri when he dragged that out.
He's just a really bad person. And now he's thinking, monogamy, maybe this was the right fit for me after all. Maybe this was destiny, the way it all worked out in the end.
And he's never getting married again, which we called. We kind of figured he wasn't
I
going to
know.
be looking for anything else.
There are always rumors about this is the new woman that Kody and Robin are courting.
Robin's not the recruiter, guys. Meri was the recruiter. And when Meri's out, nobody else is coming in.
Yeah, I don't think that that's going to happen. Obviously, he's saying he's just flat out not interested. He wants to just grow old with Robin. That is now his new dream.
Go shuffling around the house like Ozzy Osbourne. Robin! Robin!
They are both growing very old quickly.
So then Robin would be Sharon Osbourne, and she'd be saying Kody instead of Ozzy.
Are you working on a
There's actually
bit right now?
No, there's actually a lot of like similarities there. I don't know. This just that fits in like the phrasing, the pacing, the rhythm. It's all very familiar.
Think that'll be a spinoff?
The Browns?
I don't like it.
I don't like that. Didn't do well in testing. So we're going to take one last look at the cul-de-sac, one last look around. This is the point when Carly thought we were going to be trapped in the cul-de-sac.
And I was like, how did the gates open? I don't know.
You just drive out.
Did they just automatically open for anybody?
They sure do. To get out, yes.
I've never lived anywhere that was a gated community. I'm not fancy like that.
So that was a whole new experience. But yeah, that was basically the point where we thought we were going to be trapped in the cul-de-sac forever too. It's good.
I think he would enjoy that.
I think he wants that now.
Yeah.
That's why he didn't go in, because they never would have been able to get him out.
Next episode, Christine goes shopping for her dream wedding dress. Meri meets two of her friends and struggles to come to grips with her new reality. Aurora and Brianna approach Robin about returning to church.
These are a lot of storylines I did not need in my life, so I'm kind of dreading the next episode with just wedding dress shopping with Christine. Not looking forward to that. Brianna getting horny for Jesus. I don't care. And then
I'm looking forward to that a little bit.
maybe it's going to be...
They're so weird. Come on.
I need to give a disclaimer. I'm going to destroy that fucking storyline. So everybody needs to prepare. Take this week to go ahead and soak in that I am not going to be pulling any punches when it comes to Brianna's stupid religion storyline.
It's not a religion storyline. It's a dating storyline.
Well, they're trying to date Jesus.
Quick reminder, if you want to hear more from us, you can do that over on our Patreon, patreon.com/survivingpod. There is a sale going on right now for some of the tiers. So 50% off your first month of membership. Check that out if you're interested. And we had that JonBenet Ramsey episode that dropped. There's a preview of it over here, but you can listen to the whole thing on Surviving Reality.
Yeah, if you like what you're hearing here, be sure to drop a review everywhere you're listening. Apple Podcasts, Spotify. If you're on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. You can follow us on TikTok as well. You can find the links to all that stuff in the episode description, or head on over to beacons.ai/survivingpod.
Thanks for listening. See you next time.